Royale is a poo-poo, doo-doo, butt cheeks game, and I absolutely love it. Now, although it's not necessarily a terrible game, it's also not one of those games that you would willingly go into, especially alone. So, let's get into what really is the makeup of this game. Starting off with graphics, it's actually a pretty good looking game despite what it might look like on the outside. The scenery on each level is very well put together, and I honestly have to commend the devs for doing so.
Why are we playing? Why are we playing Ark?
And on to gameplay. As you can tell, Cuisine Royale is another entry into the Battlefield genre, where you and a friend, or maybe three, take on other players while looking for items and avoiding a storm in hopes of being number one. Or in this game's case, winning the chicken dinner.
Nice.
Yeah.
The game seems to be based around the World Wars because many of the weapons and much of the scenery seems to be based on that time period. The game is mostly based in reality, although certain characters do have special abilities that they can activate, like the main character being some sort of wereman.
What the hell? What is up with this cowboy? He's freaking out.
And the second lady being able to activate some sort of bullet time. There's also a chance that zombies will appear, which I think is a nice little thing that they added. I'm not sure exactly what spawns it, but it's pretty cool.
Wait, behind me? Oh shit!
Yeah, like there was like 20 crossing the river. Oh.
Right off the bat, the controls are a bit awkward and need time getting used to. Moving around can be janky sometimes, and can oftentimes get you killed. Swapping weapons can be a bit of a hassle in the beginning as well. Triangle swaps between the two primary weapons you have, which can be rifles, shotguns, or sniper rifles. Hitting left on the D-pad swaps to your secondary weapon, which can be pistols or submachine guns. Hitting right on the D-pad brings up your melee weapon. And finally, L1 is your grenades.
I did not mean to do.
Ah! You bastard!
Some mechanics such as going prone, climbing certain objects, and auto-leaning can be a bit clunky at times and sometimes don't work as intended. But for the most part, they do work, and they work exceptionally well. And as I mentioned, even though the controls for swapping weapons can be awkward, it's still fairly satisfying to shoot and get kills with them.
Another one.
Oh shit.
Ah, the other one's up there!
When I first started playing this game, I honestly expected it to be a buggy mess. And every time I tried to do anything in the game, I always expected within 5 to 10 seconds it would crash. But honestly, it's very well built, has very few bugs and glitches.
You're hitting his corpse.
Look at me.
Got him.
Ew, you're holding it weird. Ew.
What? The shots aren't going where I'm aiming. What?
Yeah, that's what was happening with me in the shotgun.
It's gonna explode. Get out!
I can see it on the map. Ah!
I'm in a rock. Damn it.
Although there are plenty of goofy things that might as well be.
Look at that ponytail.
Fuck!
Yeah, that's me.
They're here.
I'm on top of it. I'm in front of you. Okay.
Okay,
I'm
I
back
fell
in
out.
back.
What are you doing?
Regenerating stamina.
How are we doing this?
So, besides the controls being a bit awkward, there's two more things that really ruin the game for me. The first is that the game feels extremely empty sometimes. The game usually starts around 35 to 40 players, and the map is fairly large, so you probably won't be running into too many people. Which isn't to say you'll always be alone, because there's been plenty of rounds where I've run into lots of people. But a lot of times it'll end up being you run into one team at the beginning of the game, you run, you get killed in the last 4 to 6 teams.
Yeah, if I didn't die to the zone, the grenade that blew up my body would have killed me.
Or you run into nobody, in the middle of the game you run into maybe one person, and then later you run into another team or two and die.
Oh, look, there's a pistol. Ah.
So unfortunately, a lot of the game for me and my friend was just looting items, checking out boxes, and just running around, because there wasn't many people to fight sometimes. And the second thing is the other players in the game. The game seems to have about 70 to 75% players that are really, really bad, and by bad I mean they can't shoot someone sitting still, literally.
Oh, what? It doesn't even use.
Oh, this guy actually sucks.
You gonna watch the inner ladder or the outer ladder?
Look, I'm shooting.
I can't
Come
shoot! I can't shoot! What the fuck? There's friends there.
on. Yep.
Nice!
And then the other percentage is maybe 15% good players and then 10% really good players. Although regardless of the skill of the player you just killed, it's always fun to get a winner chicken dinner.
Armor. Got one. There we go.
Nice! That's it.
Out my game. Get out my game.
We just camped on the UGs. Nice.
So with all that being said, Cuisine Royale isn't necessarily a terrible game. It's just very mediocre, and I definitely would not, and so far have not played this without my friends. And that's the best I can explain it. It's one of those games that's pretty fun if you're playing with friends, and kind of boring alone. So yeah, that's my review of it.
We're literally so good that all we can do is just mess around in the game now.
Yeah.
We've reached Cuisine Nirvana.